isn't the problem partly that you're called Change UK, whereas actually if you're called Remain UK, you might clean up that part of the vote in the same way that Nigel Farage is, it does exactly what it says on the tin, Brexit Party, is storming ahead.
Well, he's a single-issue party. He makes no bones about it. All he wants to do is stop Brexit. Change UK is...
What are you?
Well, Change UK is formed of politicians who've left the established parties because we felt politically homeless just like everyone else. We've been just as disillusioned with the whole system, and not just on Brexit, but across the board. And so we're trying to create an alternative here.
The trouble is we're in a single-issue time in politics, aren't we? That is part of the problem.
In the European elections, yes. I mean, it's interesting, that poll, because in a way it reflects how people feel. They're disillusioned. They don't feel anything can change. And therefore, when you've got these parties that have been around on average over 100 years, they think, well, look, it's just going to be like that in the future. And what we're seeking to build is something to smash that. Now, what I would say is bear in mind that we left our... You know, the established parties were formed of politicians from the Labour and Conservative parties, which we've rejected now. But we did that 3 months ago, and our party is about 4 weeks old now. So we're trying to build something from scratch. It's a start-up party. And who knows what will happen? But what we're absolutely clear about, I think people do want clear messages. We're an anti-Brexit party. We want a people's vote. I've talked to you guys a lot about it, and we will be campaigning to remain in the European Union.
Here's your problem. Nigel Farage is the let's get Brexit done now party, and he's storming ahead in all the polls and getting massive traction. You're the anti-Brexit party, and your polls are down to 3% in some places,
Where have all the Remainers gone? This is what I don't understand.
I mean,
where is this massive tidal wave of change
of Remain, is it?
Well, where are they? Alistair Campbell keeps bleating away on Twitter every 5 seconds. Everyone's changed their mind. It would appear from the polling that's not true.
Well, if you actually look at the aggregate vote for the Remain parties, the pure People's Vote Remain parties, and the aggregate vote for, say, the Brexit Party and UKIP, it has been roughly about the same. I'd say on the Leave side, they're 2 to 3% above. But the thing is, with these polls, they bounce up and down, and we've been all over the shop poll-wise, which is to be expected because we're brand new.
Wouldn't it have been more politically expedient if you had formed an alliance? I mean, we saw how well the Lib Dems did in the local elections. If you'd formed an alliance with the Lib Dems, with the Greens, with any other independents who want to stop Brexit, and then you could have been really effective.
Yeah, so where we
The trouble is you're splitting the vote. Where do Remainers go, Chukka?
There's 2 points there. First of all, I don't accept that we are splitting the vote. We're actually adding to it. Remember, there are lots of people who could have voted for the Green Party, the Liberal Democrats, say, for example, in 2017, and didn't do so, and they didn't necessarily do very well. So what we do is actually we can bring people in who didn't feel that they could vote for those parties for whatever reason. But a really important thing is, where we can, we have been seeking to work together. So in the local elections...
But you can't do it, so you're not doing it in Peterborough?
Well, I'll come on to that, but in the local elections, we basically backed the Green Party and the Liberal Democrats in England, because we weren't standing, and we said, look, back these People's Vote Remain parties. In Peterborough, we actually had all coalesced around a candidate.
And then the candidate drops out.
The candidate drops out at the instigation of figures inside the People's Vote campaign who support the Labour Party and stuff.
You guys got played.
Well, look...
Didn't you? I mean, come on, Chukka. You got played. Alistair Campbell and his cronies behind the scenes fixed it so that your master plan for Peterborough never happened. Right,
but Susanna...
Why aren't Remainers working together?
They are.
Because you could be so much more effective.
We are.
48% of the country votes to stay. Hundreds of thousands of people go out on a Stop Brexit march. Millions of people sign a petition to revoke Article 50. And now the vote is just going to
Well, hang on just a minute.
Away.
All those things that you've listed, People's Vote mark with over 1 million people on it, over 6 million people voting to revoke Article 50 on a parliamentary petition. And then you look at the various different moves we've made in the House of Commons, tabling amendments all together, the Remain parties, for a People's Vote. Just on Thursday, actually, my colleague Anna Soubry went with our interim leader Heidi Allen and Vince Cable and Joe Swinson from the Liberal Democrats to the Cabinet Office to press on the Deputy Prime Minister David Lidington that we want a People's Vote to remain. So where we can, we've been doing so.
But it doesn't help you, though, does it? It doesn't help you when you have people like Gavin Esler on your side, right, the former BBC guy, who's there calling people, you know, who go on television talking about Brexit village idiots. It falls back into that terrible mistake that Hillary Clinton made, calling Trump supporters a basket of deplorables. If you start calling your opponents village idiots,
Well,
you will lose, because actually the village idiots will rise up and give you a bloody nose.
Well, look,
the Change UK seems to have learned nothing. It's like,
well,
you're all idiots, we're smarter than you. Yeah, but Gavin Esler said that.
Well, I haven't seen that Gavin Esler clip.
Really?
But what I do know is that we have been, collectively as a group, we have members of our group who've been subject to death threats and violent threats for standing up for what we believe in. You know, we've all left our political parties. We haven't done... This is not some careerist move. We've done it because we believe we've got to do the best thing for the country and our communities. And if you look at Anna Soubry, for example, Anna has been subject to the most awful death threats.
That's disgusting, yeah.
So it's not as if we...
So is Nigel Farage, by the way, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I think the toxicity around Brexit is causing people to lose their minds, right?
And the abuse on
all sides.
I can agree with you more. But I haven't seen that. But what I do know is, I mean, Gavin is actually a good example. One of the things I think people want to see more in politics. Around half of our candidates standing in these MEP elections have no political background at all. I was doing an event in Birmingham on Friday. Of our candidates there, almost half of them are clinicians, they're medics, they're doctors. We've got people from the armed forces, we've got people from this industry, from the creative industry. We've got people from various different
bottom line, you're not going to change anything with 3% polling, right?
No, of course not. But
you're not going to go anywhere.
But Piers, who knows? We don't know where we're all going to end up in the end. And one of the things I think we all learned from the 2017 general election, and you were talking about Trump, is that we're in a very politically volatile period. But what we're doing is, look, we're not doing the easy thing. Leaving the main two parties was incredibly difficult. The easy thing would have been to stay in them in some respects. We're trying to create something new.
Or you could have gone to the Lib Dems. FT analysis says that if Lib Dems, Change UK and Green Party join forces in these elections, you would win 16 out of the 60 seats available. Failing to do so means you could get
Susanna,
7 and they'll all go to the Lib Dems.
The FT...
Do you regret not joining the Lib Dems?
I have seen that FT analysis, but the problem is they don't tell you that it's impossible to do unless you merge. If all the parties merge and stand on one list, then you can do what they've modelled, but you can't. Well,
OK.
Look, I definitely think, and I have said before, that I think we need to bring the different progressive political traditions in Britain together. And that is a project that will take time. You can't just do it as a kind of quick fix solution to European elections. But ultimately, we are going to need to bring the progressive political traditions together in some way, shape or form to challenge the establishment.
There's a group of angry, betrayed voters, and they are flocking to the Brexit Party.
I hear that.
But I think there's a group of politically homeless
voters
as well, and they don't know where to
do you know the key thing is, this European elections will be very useful in allowing us to test the ground on how we can work together, how we can smash the system, and importantly, what you need to do at the general election. Piers is right to point to the polling, by the way, of the Brexit Party. One interesting thing, remember, 2016, you were covering politics then, the Brexit Party, which was then UKIP, 26.6% of the vote, and then in the general election, they got 12.3% of the vote. Now, obviously, this is important, but one of the big things that you're right to say we should focus on is what is going to happen at general election, and that polling about who will exist in 10, 15 years' time is important. And, you know, Brexit Party can do their shooting star thing here, but the question is, who's going to last and who actually credibly can change our country? Nigel Farage doesn't want to enter into government. He doesn't want to be accountable for anything. We do actually want to change things, and we're prepared to work with people
you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of people saying Donald Trump can never become president of the United States.
No. I'm just quoting to you what Nigel said. No, I'm not saying he couldn't become Prime Minister. Who knows?
I just think all the traction right now is with Farage and his Brexit Party, because actually people that voted Brexit feel like the system is trying to conspire to defy the will of democracy.
Piers, you're talking...
and ignore their vote. And it's a really big deal.
He's polling around 28 to 30% of the vote. And like we've admitted, all of us have acknowledged, look, who knows what's going to happen on the 23rd? And that's not too far off the 26.6% of the vote that UKIP got in 2014.
Yeah, but it's...
So let's just...
But Chukka, it's 10 times.
No, sure.
We've got to leave it there. Look, the truth is we're going to find out pretty soon.
We will.
Next week. We're going to it'll be very interesting what then happens after that.
It will be fascinating. I agree.